A new chapter, the forced haircut by her husband. A new life, a new beginning. Priya had always been in control of her hair. From the forced short crops of childhood to the self-inflicted boa cuts of her rebellious years, she had determined every snip, every shave, every daring transformation. But life has a way of pushing us into new chapters, and Priya had stepped into one marriage. She had met Raghav in college, their easy friendship blossoming into a love built on trust and understanding. He had never tried to change her, never questioned her choices. He admired her fiery independence, her adventurous spirit, and the way she fearlessly experimented with her hair. At first, she had kept it short, her signature look. But after their wedding, something shifted. She let it grow. Maybe it was the subconscious pull of tradition. Maybe it was curiosity. Could she embrace a different kind of beauty, one that flowed, swayed, softened her edges? Whatever the reason, she watched as her hair grew past her shoulders, longer than it had ever been. Silky, heavy, cascading like a dark waterfall down her back. She ran her fingers through it, marveled at its weight, its length. And yet, something inside her remained restless. The mirror reflected an unfamiliar version of herself. The longer her hair got, the stronger the itch became, the whisper of the clippers, the thrill of transformation, the exhilaration of letting it all go. One evening, as she brushed her long hair, she caught sight of Raghav sitting on the bed, reading. A wild thought struck her. What if I let him decide? The proposal. That night, as they sat curled up on the couch, watching a movie, Priya couldn't keep the thought to herself any longer. She turned to him, a playful smile curling on her lips. Raghav. He glanced at her, pausing the movie. She hesitated, heart pounding. How would you feel if I let you decide what happens to my hair? Raghav blinked, caught off guard. What do you mean? She took a deep breath. I've always made my own choices about it. But now, I want you to decide. Whatever you choose, I'll go through with it. A slow smirk spread across his face. Are you serious? You've spent your whole life fighting for control over your hair, and now you're just giving it up to me. Priya shivered at his words, excitement tingling down her spine. Yes, she said simply. I trust you. Raghav studied her, amusement flickering in his dark eyes. Then, with a nod, he leaned in, voice dropping to a quiet command. All right then. If you're sure, I'll take charge. The next morning, Priya stood in front of the bathroom mirror, staring at the long, thick waves cascading down her back. She had spent years growing it. And in just a few minutes, it would all be gone. Raghav stepped in, standing behind her. His fingers slid through her hair, tugging gently, as if measuring what he was about to take away. Are you ready? He asked, his voice steady. Priya met his gaze in the mirror, heart racing. Yes. There was something electrifying in the air, an unspoken tension that made her stomach flip. She wasn't in control anymore. He was. Raghav reached for the scissors. Snip. The first lock tumbled to the floor. Priya's breath hitched. She felt the loss instantly, the sudden lightness where the heavy strands had once been. Snip. 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 The sound filled the air, sharp and deliberate. She watched in fascination as Raghav worked, his movements confident, methodical. He lifted sections of her hair, slicing through them without hesitation. Priya exhaled slowly, surrendering to the feeling. The power shift was exhilarating. With every cut, her reflection changed. The weight on her head lifted. Her long hair, the result of years of patience, fell in messy heaps around her. The final strands were severed. When he finished, Priya barely recognized the woman staring back at her. Her long, flowing locks had been replaced by a sharp, chin-length bob, edgy, uneven in the most deliberate way. The cut framed her face perfectly, bold and striking. She reached up, running her fingers through the shortened strands. The feeling was intoxicating, light, free, right. Raghav stood behind her, hands resting on her shoulders. "You look beautiful," he murmured. "I'm glad you trusted me." Priya turned, meeting his gaze. "Thank you," she whispered. "This is exactly what I needed. A new beginning." For Priya, this haircut was more than just a change in style. It was surrender. A choice to trust. A moment of letting go. She had always believed that control over her hair meant control over her life. But now, she realized something else. Sometimes, giving up control could be just as powerful. Her hair would grow back. But the experience, the thrill, the way her heart had pounded as the scissors sliced through her locks, that would stay with her forever. And this was just another chapter in her endless journey of hair adventures. Because one thing was certain, Priya's story was far from over.